Hi BookTube, Lynette here, and today's video is going to be a TBR. Yes, that's right. This is something I haven't done for a while. I'm a little out of practice. That is, I have set myself a TBR for the month of March. I am not thinking I'm going to stick to this because I'm pretty much a mood reader most of the time. Occasionally I can stick to a list of books that I need to read, but more often than not I have to pick as the mood strikes. But a mood struck me and I felt the need to set a list of books that might be read this month. As some of you may be aware, for the last few years I've been following Steph at Steph Loves, and she has a group which is called the Final Book Support Group. There is a Discord channel which is open wide, so if this is something you're interested in, go and have a look for yourself. It's basically a group to encourage those of us who are serial starters of book series to get on and finish some of them. And I am a culprit of starting series and setting them to one side, especially if they're longer than maybe 2 or 3 books. I'm not always the best at finishing longer series, and I have quite a few of those on my list. For the last couple of years, Steph has also been running a readathon that was every other month. She would run it in January, March, May, July, September and November. This year, however, she has decided to step back from hosting it so often. She ran around in January, but she's not doing it in March. I don't know how often she's going to do it. It may only be 2, maybe 3 times a year, which is absolutely fine. I completely understand why Steph wants to step back from hosting the readathon so often. It is a lot of work hosting readathons. And I say that as someone who's never actually hosted one myself, but just seeing the amount of work that gets put into the public eye from others who do run them, it's a lot of work to run. There is the setting up of prompts, there is the hosting sprints, there is setting up, some people set up spreadsheets that can be used publicly to earning points. I mean, they can be as detailed as you want them to be, but even just the loosest, where you just need to maybe provide a few prompts and maybe host a sprint or 2, that's still a lot of work, and it's a lot of work on your time. So I completely understand why Steph wants to step back. She has other readathons that she wants to give some time to as well, and it's just it's a time suck, so completely get it. However, I have decided to stick with Steph's original schedule for myself. Now, if that means that she runs around in a month that wouldn't normally have been running, I'm going to go with that as well, and then maybe I'll do it 3 months in a row. So Steph would have been hosting around in March had she kept to the same schedule, and it is going to be series continuations for me this month. That's a lot of waffling to say that my focus is series this month. One thing that has made me decide to keep to this schedule is the fact that I have quite a lot. I have almost 100 series in progress at the moment, and I know that because over the last kind of 12 months-ish, I have been building a spreadsheet that I have purchased from someone else, but I've been filling it all in with all the information, and I've seen just how many series I have. Not just series in progress, but series where I own a book in the series and have yet to start it. Yeah, there's some scary numbers in there, but there will be a separate video about that coming. I just need to make some tweaks because I have kind of made some errors in the sheet, but they're easy ones to fix it, and I'll go into that in the spreadsheet. Anyway, let's talk about the books that I want to read this month, shall we? I am still reading books with Jess, Susanna and Chrissy in a book club that Jess formed. And we've decided to do middle grade for March, and we have chosen Impossible Creatures by Katherine Rundell. Yes, I have purchased a book. I know that I'm not meant to be purchasing books that much. However, my brain is a bit odd. If you haven't figured that out by now, this is going to solidify that for you. This is a book that is accessible through my local library. There are multiple copies accessible through my local library because there are copies all over the region. However, this is for readers aged 9 to 12, mostly. And my head says I cannot borrow kids' books from the library because I cannot deprive a child of the opportunity to read this book. I mean, I'd be giving the book back, but my brain doesn't like that. My brain says that I have to have my own copy. So I am trying to move away from buying ebooks as far as I possibly can, partly because of what's happening at the moment in the world of Amazon, with them now having removed the right to download books and have them set backed up elsewhere, and partly because I need to stop with all the book buying, which is something I've been successful at in the last year or so, and it is something I'm getting a lot better at still. But yes, all that to say, we're reading Impossible Creatures by Katherine Rundell, and I have bought my own copy. What is it about? It's about Christopher, who discovers a secret, an unmapped cluster of islands where all the creatures of myth still live and thrive. His life changes forever. His adventure also brings him Mal, a girl pursued by a killer with whom he will transform the destiny of the world. Prepare to be swept away to a world beyond your imagination in this epic adventure series from our master storyteller. And yes, this is book one in a series, so unwittingly, we have got me starting a new series, but it fits with the series theme for the month. So, hey, that's all well and good. I believe Katherine Rundell is actually a very good writer. I haven't read anything by her before, but I am looking forward to it. I love anything that involves mythical creatures. I believe there's going to be dragons and centaurs and all kinds of different creatures in here, and I'm really looking forward to it. And fingers crossed, because we have had an excellent start to our reading year with the January and February books have been hits across the board. So I'm, fingers crossed, have high hopes that we have made yet another great choice, and I'll let you know at the end of the month. I have a couple of other must-reads for the month. One of those is for the catch-up book club being run by Becca over at Becca and the Books. They have decided to explore the world of The Banished Lands by John Gwynne, and they're working their way through the 4 books of the Faithful and Fallen series, and then the 3 books of the Of Blood and Bone series. We were supposed to read book 2 in January and February. The live show discussing it is the first weekend in March. So kind of like, as you're seeing this, it'll be this coming weekend. And the second book is Valor. I am only 240 odd pages into a 600 and something page book. This is about a prophecy that foretells of a god war where the avatars of the good and evil, a bright sun and a dark star, I think it is. Or is it the bright star and the dark sun? I think I've got that confused. It's one of those two. They will be the human avatars of the god and the devil. And their angels and demons will be fighting a war on Earth for control of the Earth. We are following a huge cast of characters in these books, and you have lots and lots of points of view. The only good thing I can say about that is so far in this one, especially, I can't really remember with Malice, the first one, but in this one, the chapters have been quite short. But one thing John Gwynne is very good at is leaving the chapter on a cliffhanger and then leaving you hanging for 4 or 5 separate points of view before you get back to resolving the cliffhanger that you were left on. So he is very, very good at hooking you in and keeping you reading, and I am enjoying my time with Vala. It is a reread. I have listened to it before on audio, but I don't always take everything in. So there are little things that I have missed. So taking this in with my eyes this time instead of my ears, there are things I'm picking up on that I didn't before. And I'm looking forward to, over the next few days, getting through pretty much as much of this as I possibly can. Like I say, it's a reread, so if I don't finish it in time for the live show, that's not a problem, because I can always catch up and finish it not long after. But moving on from that though, I will then need to pick up Ruin, also by John Gwynne. This is book 3 of The Faithful and the Fallen. I don't anticipate finishing this in March. This is also going to go into April and maybe slightly into May, because the discussion I think will be in May for this one. But yes, I will be trying to make a start on Ruin, which is book 3. And yeah, I can't really tell you anything more than I already have about this series, but just know that this one is there lurking in the background as well. The other must-read for this month is Avian by Nicole Conway. This is a must-read because I have it out from the library. It's an audiobook, which is why, even though it's a middle grade fantasy, my brain has allowed me to borrow it because it's an audiobook, and I feel like that is not depriving a child, because parents would be more likely to borrow the physical. Anyway, brain, weird, I told you this already. Avian is book 2 of the Dragon Rider Chronicles, and it is following a young boy, Javid, who is training to be a dragon rider. In the first book, we follow his journey as he starts his training, as he claims his dragon, and all the things that happen in there. Now, it wasn't a great book, it was just a good book, but I am intrigued enough to continue the series, which is why as soon as I finished listening to the first book, I put a hold on the library for the second book. And I have a feeling that might happen again with the end of this book. It just ended on a really good note for me, and I was really pleased with where that went. After that, it's a case of mood reading. I have a few on the list that I would like to get to. One of them is to finish off a series, and that is Silver-Tongued Devil by Lorelei James. This book is on my e-reader. I have a copy of it, so why I haven't got to it yet, I really don't know. I've had it for a few years, but this is the origin story of the McKays. That's it. The McKay family, which are a huge family in America, ranching family, with I think there's 4 branches of the family, and we followed all the youngsters. And then Lorelei James went back and she did a few books where she revisited the parents and the grandparents, and I think Silver-Tongued Devil is one of the parents' origin stories. It's only a short book, it should be very quick. I have loved all of these. These are more on the erotica side of romance. They are very spice heavy, but Lorelei James writes it very, very well. She's not an author who I start to skip those scenes. As I get towards the end of the book, I do read them because I do enjoy them. And anybody who has a problem with that, you know where the door is. Because I will not tolerate people telling me that I'm reading porn. I read it and I have a marvellous time, and that is all you need to know. Yes, Lorelei James is one of those. She is one of the OG romance readers for me, romance writers for me that I started reading when I first had a Kindle. I have worked my way through the McKay series many times. I think I'm on about my 4th read through of it. So I do absolutely love it. If you like stories about cowboys and you like a lot of steam, and I know that is a bit of a thing at the moment with Lila Sage and Elsie Silver with their releases, then I really do suggest you go and check out Lorelei James McKay family. It's I think Silver Tongue Devil is the 16th story. So yes, there's quite a lot there to keep you entertained. And she covers a wide range. It isn't just straight cis white couples. There are different ethnicities included. I can't speak to the representation. I am a white female who is heterosexual. I cannot speak to the representation. However, she does show more than one way to be in a relationship, and she does that from early in the series, so go check that out. Another series I want to continue is one that I picked up last year because I was going to a signing event and this author was supposed to be there. I can't remember if she was there or not, and I can't find my notebook at the moment with who was actually there. But this is the Heartbreak Brothers series by Carrie Elks. Take Me Home was the book that I read last year, so I need to read book 2, which is still the one. This is following Tanner and Savannah, and it's second chance romance. Savannah and Tanner had a romance when they were in their teens, and then Savannah left town and she's returning home and they are going to meet up with each other and start again. I love second chance romance. I love small town romance. I love friends to lovers. So it's just going to tick all the boxes for me. I thoroughly enjoyed Take Me Home last year, and I have no doubt that I'm going to carry on and enjoy Still the One as well. So that is one that I've actually downloaded the book already from Kindle Unlimited, and I'm looking forward to picking it up fairly soon. It might be straight after Valor, it might be in between chapters of Valor. We'll see how I go. The next series I'd like to continue is the Gods of Rock series by Vicky James. Again, I picked up this series last year because of the book signing I was going to. Vicky was there and I was actually really lucky. I got to meet Vicky. I got to have a hug from Vicky because I was a bit of an emotional wreck at that point. And yeah, she's just such a lovely person that I really do need to read more from her, because I'm going to that signing again this year and she is going to be there again, and this time I want to have books signed by her. So I want to continue the Gods of Rock series. I thoroughly enjoyed the first book last year. So yes, the second book in the series is Dirty Rock, and this is following Rhett and Julia. It's rockstar romance. It is workplace romance. I think Julia is the publicist and Rhett is the lead singer, I think. And yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be one of those where there's some angst. There's going to be a little bit of push and pull. There's going to be reasons why they shouldn't be together, combined with reasons that they shouldn't be together. And just, yeah. I'm just looking forward to a really good time. The first book last year had me on the edge of my seat, and I'm not expecting any different from this one. So looking forward to picking that one up as well. Another book that is a first book in a series, which I have on its way from the library. So I should be picking that up in the next week or so. And that is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. I think this is a Viking-based fantasy romance. There's magic and sorcery. I've seen lots of synopsis all over YouTube for it. It was a bit of a YouTube darling during the last year. Lots of people had advanced copies, and yeah, so I'm looking forward to picking that one up. I listened to the Malediction trilogy, I think it was, by Danielle L. Jensen in 2023. Thoroughly enjoyed that, and want to go back and reread with my eyes, because there are probably things I missed with my ears that I want to go back and pick up on. So yeah, so I thought I'd give A Fate Inked in Blood, because it was seemed to be quite well beloved. There is book 2 coming out soon. And yeah, it just seems like it would be a good place to start, although it is adding another book to the series in progress. But hey, hopefully, you know, if I can finish one, then I can finish another. So we'll see how we go from with that one. And then I have a couple of series where I'm in the middle of a book and I really need to get on with it. I'm sure long-term viewers can guess what this next one is going to be, because I've featured it many times in series continuation videos. And yes, if you guessed Lord of Chaos by Robert Jordan, you are correct. I am still only halfway through this book. I am so mad at myself. I want to finish the series. I want to finish the series. I know this is less than halfway through, but I also know it's the beginning of the slog, and this book really is the beginning of the slog. I have really enjoyed the first 5 books, my reread of the first 5 books, but I remember just how difficult it was to get through books 6, 7, 8 and half of 9 when I read them the first time round as they were being released. But I want to finish it. I really want to finish it. And I don't know what to do. I have tried setting goals. As you can see, I've got tabs here, and I think that's every so many pages, because I think I was going to try and read it in November last year. And if I set myself, I think it's only like 10 pages. 615, yeah, it's like 10-15 pages per tab. It's like, it should be a no-brainer. I should be able to get through this. This is a series, again, it's a prophecy series, but it's based on events of the past happening all over again, a bit like the world we're currently living in. However, in this series, they take thousands of years instead of just maybe 100 or so years to repeat history. And it's about good and evil, and the evil one is locked up and he is breaking free from his prison. But yes, it is about a young man who finds out that he is the chosen one, so it's chosen one trope as well. It kind of ticks all the boxes, and I just don't understand why I can't get through it. I need to finish it. I'm going to stop saying that now. Let's hope that I will have made some progress. Even if I only read half a dozen pages, you know what? I think at the end of March, I will add it to the wrap up and we'll see how we go. And another one that I am really annoyed with myself for putting down and not getting back to is The House of Always by Jen Lyons. This is book 4 in the Chorus of Dragons series. It's political fantasy. It is so good. I'm really enjoying it. Now, the first book was the best of the series for me. The second 2 books weren't quite as good. They kind of suffered from middle book syndrome. And they were written in very much the same style as it would be. But it was 2 timelines coming together in the middle with one big battle at the end. This book isn't following that format this time. You have 2 separate storylines. So you have a group of people who are in one place, and you have the person who is supposed to be the destroyer of the world, but also is he going to be the savior of the world? You don't really know. Off doing something, and you're getting his story, but their timelines are running at the same time, or a little off from each other, but they're not like months and years apart like the previous books were. This is like almost at the same time. Can't really tell you anything other than that. But it is about a young man who is prophesied to destroy the world. And he's going to let loose great evil. Can't really say much more than that, other than really enjoying it, really annoyed with myself. I mean, I'm about a third of the way through this one. Again, it was one where in November, I had set myself a target of so many pages a day. I might try and continue those pages a day through the month of March, or I might just let the mood run away with me and I'll read it as I go. But I am determined to finish this one in March. So just these 3 books, which are the 3 that I have started, I've got a lot of pages there. I haven't counted up the number of pages, that there are potentially to read this month. I think it would scare me if I did, and I'd probably just end up finishing my romance reads rather than reading any fantasy. But I want to make some moves with the fantasy series that I have in progress, as well as everything else. And so that's my March TBR. But yeah, that's where the mood is at the moment for March. It's some easy reads alongside some very dense reads. But you know, that's me. That's my reading in a nutshell, to be perfectly honest with you. I can't think of anything that's more representative than that. So wish me luck, and hopefully I'll be back at the beginning of April to give you all an update on how I did. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then please do give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, then subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one. Bye.